Hi, this is Freddie working on my 1955 MGTF, and it's the end of September 2025. I just want to give you an update of what I'm working on, and then we'll be adding videos up on YouTube. These are the wing bolts from the front wing and from the running boards. These long bolts are 3/16 Lynn Reed. They're made by Lynn Reed, and they're 1/4 inch BSF. Now, when I'm working on my car, I'm talking about the Whitworth wrench that I used on the bolt, and the fact whether they're BSF or metric on the engine, you'll have to kind of know that when I'm working on it. But I'll mention that if I'm using Whitworth, then the BSF is one size down from the Whitworth wrench. So I have Lynn Reed bolts that are 3/16 Whitworth, and I have something BES, and I have no idea what that means. It's a manufacturer, I guess, and they're 1/4 inch Whitworth and 5/16 BSF. They're about 1 inch long, and they're what are holding most of the wings together. These two front bolts are 5/16. They're Rubbery Owen, another brand, and they're the two bolts that are the biggest, and they're up in the front where the radiator opening is. And so these bolts are the different ones. These are the same, but this one's 1/8 longer, and I'm thinking these are the ones that were holding the electrical cable clip. But I didn't know they were 1/8 inch longer, so I didn't document that. But that's what I'm going to do, is put them back there. And I made a document showing where these bolts go using a downloaded image. And I'm talking about my Lynn Reed bolts. These go through holding the running boards to the body, and they're quite bent. And I don't know if I'll get new ones or just straighten these out and clean the thread. I've taken my wire brush on my grinder here. It's got a wire brush, and I cleaned up all the bolts. So I'm going to store those until I paint and put the wings back on. Okay, so I've been cleaning up the lifter cover on my MG, and these are the dash pots. So I've taken them apart, and I've made a little jig based on something I found on YouTube. And I put the dash pots between here and here, bolted them down, put them on my drill press over there, spun it, and used various degrees of sandpaper up until 600 wet grit. And you can see that it's still shiny, but it's not polished. It doesn't have the polished look I want. So I'm going to have to buy a workshop bench polisher. I'll get an 8-inch one. And so I'll put those on a polisher and get them to shine a little bit more. The air filters have been out for chroming. I know they're supposed to be painted black, but I want them chromed, so I'm getting them chromed. And the front grille is also getting re-chromed because that's the best looking part of the car, and I want it to be cool. I'll be sanding this down and repainting all these. I'll use the same base color, but I'll probably add a little curl to make it a little different. This is the original grille, and I haven't polished anything yet. This is a new, I think that's a new one. Yeah, it's a new one. And I have some old ones with a little bit of dings on it, and my neighbor's going to help me. We have a tool that he had, and we put it in here and hit it with a hammer. I have a wooden plywood piece with a groove in it, and so I'm going to hammer these dents out. And I'll still use them. I'll just polish them up when I do get that bench polisher. So that's next on the agenda. Also, this is the wire that came out of my original light well. And it's supposed to be, let's say this one is supposed to be blue and yellow. So I see red and brown, maybe. This one over here is also yellow and brown, maybe. and this one is black. So it's the only one I can tell what color it is. So what I've done instead is just put notes on the on the car which goes where. The black one's easy to tell, but even though it looks red and brown, I'm going to call it blue and yellow because that's what the wiring diagram says it's supposed to be. But the wiring diagrams you download don't seem to match any of the colors that are on my original harness. So it's going to be a problem. I have to be careful. Hi, just took the bumper off here and the overriders. This is the passenger side overrider hole, and they came off fairly easy. However, I had really trouble with the driver's side. The bolt, I couldn't get loose at all. It was spinning. And so I took my fine multi-tool and sawed it off and ruined it, but I'll have to get another one. This one is spinning. And so what I've done is I've used a Dremel, cut a little slot in it. I'm going to shove a big screwdriver in it and get some help holding it with a wrench while I try and spin this nut off. If that doesn't work, I'll have to cut it off and buy new bolts. These bolts are not made anymore though, so it's going to be hard to find them. I'll just have to use some metric or some other BSF bolt, but it won't match, it won't be old. This is the overrider that I took off the passenger side. And it's a bolt, it's a carriage bolt in there, and it's really hard to reach, but it doesn't spin and it doesn't come out, so I'm not sure how it's held in there. But the other one was spinning and I had to cut it off. So I'm going to get another carriage bolt or a metric bolt because I don't really care about this. And when I have a new bumper up in the attic, and so when I add the overriders, I'll use new hardware and I'll probably put a rubber piece. They sell something to go on this trim, but it looks pretty ugly and I don't like it. But I'm going to put a rubber piece underneath just to not mar up the new bumper, and it'll help keep it. I'll probably do it so I can adjust the angle and keep it from wobbling around. These wobbled around. They weren't very, the original ones aren't really done very well. Anyway, I have these. I'll just polish them up. They're nicked, but who cares?